Denver's going to take set number 1 off of a service error there by Zonks. So we're going to switch sides when we come back. Denver's going to be on my near side. The Jackrabbits on the far side. We'll be right back here on Collegiate Sports in about 2 minutes. We'll be back with Jackrabbit Volleyball. Stick around.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by D.O. Bike and Fitness. Located at 1738 6th Street in Brookings, South Dakota, D.O. is a place for all things bikes. Offering top brands such as Trek and Electra, this close-to-campus store has both bike and e-bike options. Remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy a bike, and that's pretty close. 692-2022 is the number to call for this full-service and sales store. D.O. is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No. It's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. First Bank and Trust Arena. Ben Anderson here and Brendan Byers back in the studio. We'll have football right here on KSDJ and YouTube later tonight at about 6 o'clock, where it's an interstate series game. The Jackrabbits taking on the USD right here at South Dakota State University at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. So make sure to tune in for that. Right now, we've got volleyball here in First Bank and Trust Arena just down the road from Dana J. Dykhouse. And the Jackrabbits have lost set number 1 to Denver. 0-1 here in sets, and set number 2 is just about to get underway. Like I said prior, we have switched sides of the court, so Denver now on my near side, the Jackrabbits on the far side. They need to pick it up here in the second set. They beat Denver earlier this year 3-1 in sets, and Denver is 24-4 against the Jackrabbits all time. So just about to get underway here, set number 2. Jackrabbits versus Denver, and Denver will serve. It's Cassie Davis behind the line for the Pioneers. Davis serving. Tips to the top of the net, but goes over. Martin setting up Zonks, who tips over the block. And the Pioneers all over it. They send back a tip of their own and goes across the block there. Richardson gonna bump it across, and the Denver Pioneers send a spike and off the hands there of Megan Roggenkamp and out of bounds. Point for Denver. They lead early in set number 2, 0-1. Still Cassie Davis behind the line there for the Pioneers. Richardson bumps. Martin sets up Zonks, who sets a spike fast and in front of Cassie Davis. Point for the Jacks. 1-all, set number 2. Riley Martin behind the line now for the Jacks. Martin has 3 assists tonight so far. Setting across, picked up by Reynolds. They send a spike of their own. Number 21 there, Kate Perryman, sent that one across, kill for her. Denver leading set number 2, 1-2. They lead set 0-1. Denver's Margaret Newton is serving now. That one looked close to the line, but Zonk's gonna play it. Shetnin able to tip it into the block, and the block sends it out of bounds. So point for the Jacks there, 2-all, set number 2. Back to serve for the Jackrabbits. Serving now for the Jacks, Sylvie Zonks. Serve is away, picked up by Davis and sent too close to the line, so Shetnin able just to tip it back on the Denver side. And now Denver puts something together. Riley Martin direct set over, barely gets there in time for Denver, and they send back a spike. And now Davis sends a wild one out of bounds off the spike by Van Igdam. Kill for her, point for the Jacks. They lead now set number 2, 3-2. Sylvie Zonks still serving. Serve is to Davis. And now Reynolds gets set up for the spike off the block and out of bounds. Point for Denver, 3-all, set number 2. Emerson Werger serving for Denver. Serve is away. Zonks gets to Martin, who gets to Groves on the spike and out of bounds on the back line. Point for Denver, they lead it now. It's 3-4. Still number 4 back behind the line for the Pioneers. It's Werger. Werger's serve away. Zonks diving for that one and spiked across there by Van Igdam, and a kill for her. 4-all now in set number 2. Now serving Jocelyn Richardson, your libero. Serve is to the right sideline, out of bounds. Point for Denver, service error there by Richardson. 4-5, Denver ahead by 1 in the second set. And it's Reynolds behind the line for the Pioneers. Serve is right to Zonks. Martin sets up Burr for the spike across into the blockers. Got into a little bit of trouble there, but the Pioneers able to return it. A little bit of miscommunication on the Jackrabbit sideline, but able to recover and just tip it across. And the Pioneers still playing it as a block was up front by Burr there. Now Jackrabbits trying to put something together. Van Igdam comes in for the spike and out of bounds on the back line. Point for Denver. There's a little bit of miscommunication there in the middle of that volley by the Jacks. Richardson ran into Sylvie Zonks, but they were able to recover there. It's 4-6. Jacks down by 2, set number 2. Zonks wild bump there off of the serve and an ace for Denver. That was Ava Reynolds with the service ace. It's 4-7. Denver is up by 3 now, and they won the first set. It's set number 2. Richardson bumps, Martin bumps, and it's Van Igdam who spikes across. Up front there, Denver gets it on the front line. A block there by Groves keeps it on the Denver side. They send back a spike. Richardson on the dig, and the dig goes out of bounds. Point for Denver. Now doubling the score of the Jacks in the second set. It's 4-8. Ava Reynolds is still serving for the Pioneers. Serve is long and out of bounds. Service error there by Reynolds. Point for the Jacks, 5-8. Cameron Hahn now serving for the Jacks. Hahn's serve is to Reynolds. Tipped over by Denver and a point for them. 5-9 is the score. The Jacks are down by 4 now here in the second set. The libero for the Pioneers, it's Elena Finucane serving. Sylvie Zonks, Hahn, Van Igdem on the spike, off the face of one of the Denver Pioneers, and they can't get control of it. Point for the Jacks. 6-9 now. Jacks down by 3. Kill for Van Igdem on the last point, and serving now is Rachel Weber. Weber serve picked up there by Werger, and across the Jackrabbits now putting something together. And Sylvie Zonks is blocked up front by Kate Perryman for the Pioneers. Point for Denver. 6-10. Jacks are down by 4 here in the second set. Need to serving now. Martin bumps, gets it across to Ventling Brown, who on the spike. Denver recovers the dig. And Hahn now with the dig for the Jacks. And Ventling Brown's going to get a second chance to spike it across. Reynolds is there for the Pioneers. They tip over the net, and the Jacks are able to get there just in time. It was Weger. The Jacks send a tip of their own. Denver now putting something together. They get a spike off the hands of the block, able to recover for the Jackrabbits. Block up front for the Pioneers, and the Pioneers on offense now, and a block there by Sylvie Zonks is able to end the volley, and a point for the Jackrabbits there, and a tough one. It's 7-10. The Jacks are down by 3 now. Madison Burr behind the line for the Jacks. Burr's serve goes across to Davis. The Pioneers send a spike. Weger recovers for the Jackrabbits, and Zonks sends a spike of her own right to the hands of Elena Finucane, who can't get control of it. And a kill for Zonks. 8-10. The Jacks are down by 2 now, set number 2. Each team has both of their timeouts left. Madison Burr serving. Reynolds digs and gets it to Smith on the spike. Burr able to dig that one. Shetland tips over the net, and Denver's having trouble getting control of it. They send a bump across. Jackrabbits have excellent position here. They send a spike at Sylvie Zonks. Once again, Elena Finucane couldn't control it off the spike from Sylvie Zonks. And a kill for the Jacks. Advances the score. It's 9-10. Jacks in a 1-point deficit here in set number 2. Madison Burr still serving. Burr serve across Smith there, and Smith's going to get a chance to spike it across. Blocked up front there by Ventling Brown, but recovery by the Pioneers, and Jackrabbits trying to put something together. Ventling Brown with the spike off the hands of the block, and the Pioneers are just able to recover it now, trying to put something together. And a block again by Ventling Brown. Keeps the ball on the Pioneer side. A block up front again by Shedden. The Pioneers still scrambling. Hahn now with the dig for the Jackrabbits. Weber gets it across to Zonks, who tips it down onto the Pioneers side. The Pioneers try to set the spike. Blocked up front by Shedden. It was a block party for the Jackrabbits. The ball was on the Pioneers side for 90% of that point, and the Pioneers call a timeout. It's tied up 10-all in set number 2. We'll be right back here in 30 seconds to First Bank and Trust Arena. Stick around.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on...
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
So a run in points forces Denver to take a timeout. We're back now. It's 10-all tied up here in set number 2. The Jackrabbits just went on a huge run there. And now the Jackrabbits on a 4-0 scoring run. And Madison Burr still serving behind the line for the Jacks. Serve away, Reynolds digs for Denver. And they send a spike. Hahn just gets there. And they're going to say Hahn didn't get there in time. She dove for that one off of the knuckles close to the floor. So point for Denver there. Breaks the scoring run after the timeout. It's 10-11. Denver's up by 1. It's Smith now serving for Denver. Weber digs. Shetland blocks up front on the return there. And the Pioneers now trying to put something together. Reynolds serves to the left line and inbounds. Point for Denver there. Again, it's Cassie Davis. Davis serving. Weber digs. Hahn gets it across to Zonks, tipping above the blockers. The blocker gets a hand on it. Libero now recovering the ball. And blocked up front by Ventling Brown. And a point for the Jackrabbits off of a net violation by the Pioneers. It's Riley Martin behind the line here for the Jackrabbits on the serve. 11-12. Martin serve, picked up by the libero on the Denver side. Reynolds sends a spike. Weber couldn't get in the way. It hit her in the shoulder, and it went off of the shoulder out of bounds. So point for Denver. It's 11-13. The Jacks are down by 2 here now. First Bank and Trust certainly has been filling up these last couple volleyball games. Denver now serving. Martin sets up Groves, who just tips over. And it's going to be a kill for Groves as Denver can't get there in time. One of the Pioneers was able to get under it, but barely popped it off the ground, so it fell once again. Point for Jacks, it's 12-13. Sylvie Zonks back behind the line. Her serve picked up by Denver. They send a spike to an open area of the court. Falls to the ground. Point for Denver. It's 12-14. Jackrabbits down by 2. Set number 2. Jacks still have both their timeouts. Denver has 1. Emerson Werger serving now for the Pioneers. Picked up by Richardson. Wildly out of bounds, but Van Ingdam gets there to return it to center. And Denver sends a spike. Dug up by the Jacks. Sent back over by Sydney Shetland. Denver sends another spike, and it's again Sylvie Zonks who's able to get there in time. Van Ingdam sends it to the Denver side. Blocked up front there by Shetland, but the block went out of bounds. So point for Denver. 12-15 is the score. Jacks are down by 3 now. Set number 2. It's still Emerson Werger serving. Serve away. Zonks bumps. Martin sets up. Groves on the spike. And now the Pioneers sending a spike there on, blocked up front there by Van Igdam. Not able to get blocked that time. Richardson on the bump and sent back over by Van Igdam. Pioneers playing the ball now, and Richardson with the dig. And Van Igdam's gonna tip it across. The Pioneers playing that one. Reynolds gets blocked up front by Shetnin, and the Pioneers still trying to put something together. That time, the block not successful, and Riley Martin has to set up. Groves on the spike, and Denver in a bad position and bad communication there. Couldn't get there in time. Falls to the court, and point for the Jacks. It's 13-15 there. A lot of big volleys throughout this game. Richardson serving now for the Jacks. And the Pioneers put it over in 2. Richardson wasn't really ready for it, but able to get there in time. Now Martin sets up Zonks, who sets down a spike. Barely inbounds, but inbounds it was. Point for the Jackrabbits, 14-15. Jacks are down by 1. Second set. Jocelyn Richardson serving now for the Jacks. It's Davis picking it up for the Pioneers. They send over a tip. Touched first there by Bird, then Zonks. Van Igdam tips it above the blocks. And a point for the Jackrabbits. Kill there by Van Igdam. Ties up the second set at 15 all. Jocelyn Richardson still serving. Richardson serve across to the libero, Finucane. Pioneers tip it above the block. 2 Jackrabbits are down on the court, and Zonks able to send it over. And Reynolds gets blocked up front by number 15, Alyssa Groves. And the Jackrabbits lead once again in the second set. And Denver is gonna burn their second of 2 timeouts. The Jacks are up by 1. It's 16-15. 2 Jackrabbits collided on that last volley, but they're okay. Got back up in the play, and it didn't affect the play there. So timeout called by Denver. Let's take a look once again at some of the star players here for the Jackrabbits. It's definitely Sylvie Zonks. She has 3 errors, hitting percentage of .273. She has 1 assist as well, 5 digs, 2 blocks up front for her. Van Igdam, she has 5 kills tonight on 1 error. Hitting percentage of .250, 1 dig, 1 block. Alyssa Groves, 3 kills, 1 error. 333 hitting percentage, and a dig of 1, and blocks of 1 as well. Sydney Shetnin, 2 kills on 8 total attempts, hitting percentage of .125. Digs 1, blocks 1 as well. Bendling Brown has 2 blocks tonight, and Riley Martin, again, ultimate team player. She has 9 assists tonight, and Cameron Hahn, the other setter for the Jackrabbits, she has 6 assists tonight as well. Richardson and Hahn have 4 digs apiece, and that is just overshadowed a little bit by Sylvie Zonks' 5. So timeout concludes, and we're back here. The Jackrabbits have the serve. It's Jocelyn Richardson back behind the line here. And South Dakota State is once again on a 4-0 scoring run. Richardson serving now, picked up by the libero. And the Pioneers tip it across. Zonks to Martin, setting up. Van Igdam blocked up front. Block goes out of bounds. Point for the Jacks. Now on a 5-0 scoring run. It's 17-15. Jacks are up by 2. Second set. Both timeouts still remain for the Jacks. Denver has 0. Jocelyn Richardson serving to Denver. Gets it across. Sylvie Zonks to Martin. To Burr, tipping above the block. And Denver gets the dig. Reynolds sends a spike out of bounds. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 18-15. The Jackrabbits are up by 3, and they're on a 6-0 scoring run on Denver. Jocelyn Richardson behind the line now serving. Richardson serve, picked up by the libero, Finucane. Sent across by Marabelli. And again, the Pioneers have it on their end. Zonks to Martin. Zonks gonna bump it across. The Pioneers playing it. Send a spike off the blocker's hands and out of bounds. Zonks with the effort of a lifetime there, diving for it, but not able to get there in time. And there, Denver breaks that 6-0 scoring run with the point there. It's 18-16. Denver is down by 2 right now. Set number 2. Reynolds serving. Martin setting up Van Igdem. Spikes off the blocker's hands. Reynolds gets there on a dive. And block up front there by Burr goes out of bounds. Point for Denver. 18-17. Denver is down by 1. Jacks lead it. Denver did win the first set. It's set number 2. Served there by Reynolds and awkwardly off the hands of Zonks into the crowd. And it's an ace there for Reynolds again. Ties up the set at 18 all. The Jackrabbits are going to use a timeout. So let's take a look here at the Denver statistics, player-wise. Ava Reynolds, of course, she has 7 kills tonight, 6 errors on 16 total attempts. Percentage of only 0.62. She does have 2 service aces tonight and 6 digs. Cassie Davis, she has 6 kills tonight, 0 errors on 16 total attempts. A hitting percentage of .375. 1 service ace for her as well, and 4 digs and a block up front. Molly Marabelli, she has 4 kills, 1 error, 13 total attempts. Hitting percentage .231. 1 assist for her, 3 digs, 1 block. Katie Perryman, she has 4 kills tonight, 1 error, 8 attempts, .375 hitting percentage, 1 dig, 2 blocks on the net. Briley Decker, she has 3 kills on 8 total attempts, no errors for her. Hitting percentage of .375 and 17 total assists and 5 digs for her. Running around the court, it's definitely Elena Finucane, the libero. She doesn't have any kills tonight, but she has 4 assists as well as 9 digs for the Pioneers. And the Jackrabbit timeout concludes as Ava Reynolds is serving now for the Pioneers. Set number 2 is tied up right now, 18 all. Reynolds serving, and Zonks gets it to Martin, who sets up Van Igdem, who spikes across. The Pioneers dig it, and they send back a spike of their own, blocked up front there, but going to be called a net violation there on Groves. So point for Denver, and it's 18-19. The Jacks are down by 1 now. Reynolds serving, Richardson on the dig, and Zonk sets up Groves, who sends a spike, and Denver can't control it, and a point for the Jackrabbits. It's 19 all in set number 2. Annalie Ventling-Brown and Cameron Hahn coming to the game for the Jackrabbits, and it's going to be Hahn behind the line serving. Hahn's serve is to Reynolds. Denver playing it, and Marabelli gets blocked up front, and Denver can't get control of it. Madison Burr there on the block. The Jacks get that point, now lead set number 2 by 1. It's 20-19. Cameron Hahn still serving now. Hahn serve, Reynolds picks that one up. Denver gets it across to Davis, sends a spike off the hands of the blockers, played by the Jackrabbits. Van Igdem sends a spike back to the Denver side. Denver sets something up. They get blocked up front by Van Igdem, but it goes out of bounds. Point for Denver, 20 all here now in the second set. Elena Finucane, the libero, serving now. Zonks to Hahn to Burr. Tipped across. Finucane dives, and Pioneers just going to have to bump it across because it's their third hit. They couldn't get organized. Hahn setting up Ventling Brown on the spike. Off the hands of the Pioneers and out of bounds. Point for the Jackrabbits and a kill for Annalie Ventling Brown. 21-20. Jackrabbits up by 1. Set number 2, down 1 set. It's Rachel Weber now, back to serve for the Jacks. Aaliyah Schlimgen is in at libero for the Jackrabbits. Denver sends a spike across, and they're going to get the point there. Genevieve Lewis there up front for the Pioneers. It went off the hands of the block, and I think it fell right down on the Jackrabbit side on that last point. So 21 all, and the Jacks have been tied up here in the second set. They need to win this set to get a little bit more comfortable throughout this game. Denver, of course, won set number 1. Now serving, Briley Decker. Rachel Weber diving. Hahn gets there to assist. And Sylvie Zonk sends the spike down. And it's again Elena Finucane couldn't get there in time. Point for the Jackrabbits, kill by Zonks. 22-21. Jacks up by 1. Set number 2. Jacks still have 1 timeout. Denver, none. Madison Burr serving. Both teams talking with the coaches now. So a little bit of a pause here. As each team talks. And Denver is disputing, or at least talking with one of the referees. And there is going to be a challenge here. So let's take a look at what the challenge is. It's on that last point there. Hahn sets it up there for Van Ignam, who spikes it down. I'm not 100% sure what they're looking for here. Is it a net violation potentially? I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see what the call is. The refs are still reviewing it over there at the scorers table. So just waiting now for the ruling by the referee. We'll see if this point gets overturned. Right now the score is 22-21 with the Jackrabbits on top. If it gets reversed, the score would reverse. So the Jackrabbits would have 21 and Denver would have 22, and they would lead the second set and have the serve. So we'll see what this one comes out to. Still being reviewed, now talking to the scorers on the bench. The referee should be giving us a ruling here soon. So they were ruling that the dig was good, which was originally ruled dead. So there's going to be no point, actually. So it's going to be tied up 21-all there. Weber digs for the Jacks. Zonk sends across a spike off the hands of the blockers and down to the court. Point for the Jackrabbits. Sylvie Zonks with another kill tonight. She has 10. Jackrabbits 22, Denver 21. Madison Burr, the freshman, to serve. Davis gets it for Denver, and a wild spike there by Kate Perryman, way out of bounds. Almost hit a camera guy in the corner of the court, and the Jackrabbits going to get the point there. It's 23-21. Jacks up by 2. Set number 2. Davis digging the serve, and she's going to get a chance to spike it. It's Burr who bumps. It goes way up into the air. Hahn recovers, and Zonk spikes across to the Denver side. Denver plays it, and they send a spike to their own. It's Perryman with a little bit of redemption there off the hands of Cameron Hahn and out of bounds. Point for Denver, 23-22. Coming down to the wire here in the second set. Number 9, Cassie Davis serving for the Pioneers. Rachel Weber bumps, gets it across to Zonks, who gets blocked up front, out of bounds by Denver. Point for the Jackrabbits, and it's set point in set number 2. It's 24-22. It's number 5, Riley Martin behind the line to serve for the Jackrabbits. Serve is away, inbounds, played by Denver. It's Reynolds getting a chance to tip above. Martin can't get there in time, and she touched it. It might have gone out of bounds if she didn't touch that one, but it was potentially also tipped by the blockers there. So point for the Pioneers, 24-23. It's still set point for the Jacks, and the Jacks are going to use their last timeout of set number 2. This is a big point here. The Jackrabbits need to win set number 2, or at least they'd like to. The Pioneers won set number 1, so it's set 0-1 right now as it is. And it could be a beneficial set to have for the Jacks, just playing a little bit more comfortably, not having to play against the wire. Of course, 3 sets to win it in the game of volleyball. We might get another nail-biter. Both teams performing very well tonight. Again, nail-biter on Tuesday with USD and the Jackrabbits going to 5 sets, and set number 4 going to extra points. 26-24 was the final score of set number 4. And I lost my voice that night, so we'll see if that happens here again tonight. Timeout comes to a close, and it's still set point in set number 2. 24-23, Jackrabbits ahead. Of course, sets are win by 2, so if Denver gets this point, they'll force extra points here in set number 2. Number 15, Margaret Newton, back behind the line for the Pioneers on the serve. Serve away. Zonks digs. Martin gets it to Zonks. She sends a spike across up front, the blockers. It's on the Pioneer side. They send a spike. Richardson diving, gets the dig. Shetnan gets it across to Zonks. They send it back to the Pioneer side. They send a spike, and Martin touches it as it goes out of bounds. And point for the Pioneers. It's 24-all. We have extra points here in the second set. Win by 2, Denver serve. Number 15, Margaret Newton serving for Denver. Zonks to Martin. Zonks with the spike. And inbounds. Point for the Jackrabbits. It hit the back line here. An excellent ball placement and kill there by Zonks. Point for the Jacks. It's 25-24. Now set point once again for the Jackrabbits. Sylvie Zonks back to serve. Van Igdem comes in here for Weber. Zonks serving. Set point. Set number 2. Serve away. Davis digs. And Reynolds gets blocked up front by Groves. And it's called out of bounds. And a point for Denver. 25-all in set number 2. Emerson Werger serving now for the Pioneers. Serve is away. Richardson, the libero on the dig. Martin sets up. Groves on the spike and down to the ground. Alyssa Groves with the point and the kill for the Jackrabbits. Martin moves up to 12 assists tonight. It's 26-25, and it's set point once again for the Jackrabbits. Jocelyn Richardson, the libero, back to serve. And it's an ace! A service ace for Jocelyn Richardson! Wins set number 2 for the Jackrabbits! Set number 2, final score 27-25. Sets tied up 1-1 now as we prepare for set number 3 here in First Bank and Trust Arena. 5 minutes goes up on the clock until the next set, so we'll be right back here in about 3. You're listening to Collegiate Sports and Jackrabbit Volleyball.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by D.O. Bike and Fitness. Located at 1738 6th Street in Brooklyn, South Dakota, D.O. is a place for all things bikes. Offering top brands such as Trap and Electra, this close-to-campus store has both bike and e-bike options. Remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy a bike, and that's pretty close. 692-2022 is the number to call for this full-service and sales store. D.O. is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio KSDJ 90.7.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Welcome back in here to First Bank and Trust Arena. After the second set, the Jackrabbits won it with extra points. Final score in set number 2, 27-25. Now we look at set number 3. The sets are tied, 1 apiece each team. And the Jackrabbits are going to start on the serve. The Jackrabbits are the nearest side to me, and Denver is on the far side as we get prepared for set number 3 here in First Bank and Trust Arena. I'm Ben Anderson, of course, and Braden Byers is back with us in the studio, helping us out today. Me and Braden will be doing some Jackrabbit football later today against USD, interstate rivalry here at 6. So make sure you tune in for that as well. Riley Martin now back behind the line to serve for the Jackrabbits. Picked up by Reynolds and now sent across by Johnson. Zonk sends a spike, finds a gap and a kill. Jackrabbits lead early here in the third set. It's 1-0. Riley Martin once again to serve. Martin serve right to the libero and all over it. Reynolds sends a spike. Schlimgen gets there. Songs pulling it out of the crowd, and Sydney Shetton able to get it back into Pioneer territory. Groves now for the Jackrabbits. Zongs tips it over and gets the kill. Sylvie Zonks, that was her point all the way, pulling it out of the crowd. Many people ducking there in the first row, able to get it back into play, and the Jackrabbits get the point, and Zonks on that kill as well. Riley Martin serve. Reynolds sends a spike between the blockers, gets it down. Point for Denver, 2-1. Jackrabbits up by 1. Richardson comes back for Aaliyah Schlimgen here as libero. Pioneers on the serve. Zonks digs. Martin sets up. Sydney Shetton on the kill. Three to 1. Jacks are up by 2 in the third set. Sets are tied 1 apiece. Sylvie Zonks serving for the Jacks. Reynolds digs. Sent over by Mirabelli. Martin sets it back across into Pioneer territory. Pioneers just gonna bump it off as they were not organized. And Groves sends a spike and a kill from Alyssa Groves. Sylvie Zonks back serving once again. It's 4-1 as the Jackrabbits are ahead by 3 in the third set. And a service error there by Sylvie Zonks. So point for Denver. It's 2-4. The Jackrabbits are ahead there by 2. Back serving for the Pioneers, Emerson Werger. Werger serving. Richardson on the bump there. Shetton gets set up by Martin, who almost had a kill, barely dug up by the Pioneers. Back in Jackrabbit territory, it's Shetton once again to spike it across. Pioneers get the dig there. Groves sends it wildly off the hands, brought back in by Zonks. And Pioneers send another one, and they finally get the kill there. Point for Denver. It was Molly Mirabelli on the kill there. Emerson Werger serving again for the Pioneers. That one goes right to Van Igdem. Martin setting up Groves. Sends it across, dug up there by Davis. Shetton just gonna bump it across. Got into some trouble there near the net. Shetton having to play multiple times there as the Pioneers just sent it right back at her. Not able to get organized there on that last one, and it falls to the court. 4-all here. Set number 3, Denver point, and it's still Werger serving. Richardson on the bump to Martin. Gets it to Groves on the kill. Point there for the Jacks. Alyssa Groves with the kill. And it's 5-4 as the Jacks lead it by 1. Jocelyn Richardson, the libero, serving now for the Jacks. Serve is over and picked up by Denver. They send a quick one over. It was Briley Decker there on that spike, inbounds. Point for Denver, 5-all. Third set here, number 11, it's Ava Reynolds. Sylvie Zonks gets a tough one across. Groves pulls it out of the scorer's table this time, and it's still in play. And they send back another one. That one was Cassie Davis for the Pioneers, and the Jackrabbits aren't in position that time to make a play. And point for Denver, 5-6. The Jackrabbits are down by 1, and the sets are tied up 1 apiece. It's Ava Reynolds once again for the Pioneers. Zonks, bump, Martin gets it to Burr, tips over the blockers, and the Pioneers send back a spike to an open area of the court. Point for Denver. 5-7. Jacks are down by 2. Ava Reynolds serving still for Denver. Richardson, bump, Martin sets up Van Igdam, spiking. Pioneers all over it, sends back a spike, blocked up front by Madison Burr. Point for the Jackrabbits. Madison Burr, 6'1" freshman middle blocker for the Jackrabbits, able to end the 3-0 scoring run by Denver. 6-7 is the score. Jacks are down by 1. It's Cameron Hahn serving. Hahn serve. Goes across to Finucane. And an error there by Denver. And the ball falls on their side. 7-all. Weren't able to return it there after the serve. Cameron Hahn still serving. Davis with the bump. And a direct set over by Briley Decker, and the Jacks aren't ready for it. Aaliyah Schlingen dove for it, but too late. Hit the court. Point for Denver, 7-8. Jacks are down by 1, and it's Elena Finucane serving for the Pioneers. Zonks to Hahn, to Ventling Brown, blocked up front by the Pioneers. Combination of Kate Perryman and Cassie Davis up front of the net for the Pioneers, denies Ventling Brown. And point for Denver, 7-9. Jacks are down by 2, set number 3. Serve there by the Pioneers. Hahn gets it to Burr. Burr spiking across. Pioneers diving for it. A wild bump, just gonna tip it over. And Hahn gets it to Richardson, who sets up Van Igdam, who spikes across for the kill. Point for the Jacks. 8-9. Jacks are down by 1. It's Rachel Weber serving for the Jackrabbits now. Weber serve to Finucane. Sent back across by the Pioneers. And Zonks, who spikes it out of bounds. And point for Denver. Jackrabbits are down by 2. It's 8-10. Back serving for Denver, it's Briley Decker. Decker serving, Zonks with the bump. Hahn gets it across to Zonks, spiking across the net, picked up by Denver. They send back a spike of their own. It's Hahn on the bump and the dig. And it's Zonks who just sets it across. And Hahn tries to get there again. She does, but sends it wild, out of bounds on the Denver side. Point for the Pioneers. It's 8-11. The Jacks are down by 3 in set number 3. Each team has both their timeouts. Briley Decker serving. Hits the top of the net, but goes into Jackrabbit territory. Ventling Brown gets set up there for the spike. Pioneers dig it. And it's Jocelyn Richardson on the dig for the Jacks. Zonks tips over the blockers. Pioneers have it now. They send back a spike of their own into the back of Zonks and out of bounds. Point for Denver once again. It's Jackrabbits 8, Denver 12, and the Jacks are down by 4. So let's take a look again at our stats for this game as a team. So Denver has 102 total attacks. They have 42 kills tonight and 13 attacking errors. As a team, they have a hitting percentage of .291. The Jackrabbits, on the other hand, have an attack rate of 99 with 34 kills and 10 attacking errors. Hitting percentage as a team sits at .242. Jackrabbit player stats, Sylvie Zonks on top for kills. She has 14 tonight on 4 errors, 34 total attacks, hitting percentage of .294. She has 2 assists tonight, 9 digs, 2 blocks. Alyssa Groves, she has 7 kills tonight so far on 1 error and 11 total attacks. She has a hitting percentage of .545. Impressive number there for Groves. She has 3 digs tonight and 2 blocks as well. Riley Martin sits at 18 assists tonight, doubling the next most assist stat person on the Jackrabbits, Cameron Hahn. She has 9 tonight. Hahn has 6 digs as well. Richardson also sitting at 6 digs. Timeout concludes for the Jackrabbits. The score is 8-12. The Jackrabbits are down by 4. Sets are tied 1 apiece, and Denver is serving. Serve is away by Briley Decker. The Jackrabbits have it. Weber gets it across to Zonks, who spikes across. Denver's there for the dig. And it's Kate Perryman with the spike and the kill for Denver. It's 8-13. Denver point there. Jacks are down by 5 now. So once again, it's Briley Decker serving for the Pioneers. Richardson bumps Hahn, sets up Zonks, blocked up front by Perryman and Johnson for Denver. On the other hand, that one goes out of bounds off the block. So point for the Jackrabbits. It's 9-13. Jacks are down by 4. Madison Burr on the serve, and a lightning fast spike there by Kate Perryman gives Denver the point. It's 9-14. The Jacks are down by 5. Cassie Davis serving for Denver. Out of bounds service error there by Davis. We haven't had a service error in a while. But we get one there by Davis. So point for the Jacks. It's 10-14 as Denver leads by 4. Riley Martin back behind the line to serve it for the Jackrabbits. Here is Martin's serve. Over, inbounds, picked up by the libero for Denver. Sent back across by Reynolds and marked out of bounds, but touched first by the Jacks. 10-15 as Denver leads by 5 in set number 3. Jackrabbits needing to put something together here. The Jacks have 1 timeout remaining. Denver has both. Number 15, Margaret Newton, back behind the line to serve for the Pioneers. Zonks setting, Martin bumping. Zonks get a chance to spike, blocked up front by Johnson. And Zonks once again gets a chance. He goes between the blockers, dug up by Davis on the Pioneer side. And the Pioneers send a spike of their own off the hands of the blocks of the Jackrabbits, and it goes out of bounds. So point for Denver. It's 10-16 as the Jackrabbits are on a 6-point deficit here in the 3rd set. Not looking good. A little bit of messy play here in the 1st and 3rd sets, and I can't even say it's the best I've seen in the 2nd set either. The Jackrabbits have not been playing at their best level tonight as a team. Certainly going to need to pick it up if they want to come away with a win here and maintain their undefeated record. Jackrabbits sit at 19-0 and 8-0 in the conference play. The Pioneers are 9-10, 4-5 in conference play. Jackrabbits remain the only undefeated team in the nation at any level of volleyball. Jackrabbits used their last time out here. They have none left, and Denver still has both. Denver leading by 6. And the Jacks need to get something going here in the third set to give them a lead going into set number 4. Whichever team wins set number 3 will have a chance to end it in set number 4. An important one here in First Bank & Trust Arena. Concludes for the Jackrabbits. Both teams come back out. It's Newton back behind the line once again, serving for Denver. Serve away, Zonks bumping. Martin sets it over to Zonks, and it goes off the hands of the blocks and out of bounds. Point for the Jacks. It's 11-16. Jacks still down by 5, but a good point there after the timeout. Sylvie Zonks will be serving again for the Jackrabbits. Aaliyah Schlimgen is in at libero for the Jacks. Served by Zonks to Davis and gets over to Decker. And Reynolds spiking across. Schlimgen able to get the dig. Van Igdem sends over to Spike. And a point there by Van Igdem. 2 points for the Jacks since the timeout, 0 for Denver. And it's Sylvie Zonks serving. Zonk's serve is into the net. Service error there. Too low. Point for the Pioneers. 12-17. Jacks down by 5 here. Set number 3. It's Emerson Werger. She's going to be serving it for the Pioneers. Serve is away. Van Igdem on the dig. And Sydney Shednin lays down the hammer there. Nice kill there for Shetnin. 13-17 as the Jacks are down by 4. Jocelyn Richardson with the serve. Picked up by the libero for Denver. They send it back. It's Molly Marabelli. And it falls to the court. Richardson almost got there in time, but not quite. Point for Denver there. 13-18. Denver leads it by 5. And it's Ava Reynolds behind the line. Reynolds tipped the top of the net, but goes over. Madison Burr able to spike it across. And Van Igdem with the block up front, but the Pioneers recover, send it back to the Jackrabbit side. Zonk sends a spike, and it goes out of bounds. Off of the hands of Emerson Werger. Point for the Jackrabbits. 14-18. Jacks down by 4. And Denver needs 7 more to win set number 3. Cameron Hahn serving now for the Jackrabbits. Serve is away. Picked up there by Finucane. Sent across by Davis. Zonks with an excellent dig there. Back in Pioneer territory. And a whistle as Pioneers touch the net. 15-18 now. The Jackrabbits down by 3. And Cassie Davis talks to her head coach, and it looks like we're going to get a challenge here by the Pioneers. Pioneers have both their timeouts left as well in the third set. It looked like Burr could have touched the net there. Looking at it on the replay right now. We'll see what happens here, but it looks like we're going to get a challenge, potentially. No challenge there. Play resumes. Cameron Hahn, just a talking to by the head coach for the ref. Cameron Hahn serving for the Jacks. And the Pioneers get it over the line on the second hit. Ventling Brown able to just send it right back. It wasn't intentional. Cameron Hahn sets up Burr, who spikes across for the Pioneers. The Pioneers send a spike of their own. Zonks on the dig. And Van Igdam trying to send a spike across right into the arms of the blockers. Combination block by Molly Mirabelli and Briley Decker there for the Pioneers. It's 15-19 now. The Jacks are down by 4. Set number 3. Sets tied, 1 each. Zonks with the bump. Gets it to Van Igdam. Van Igdam with the spike. Goes high off of the dig by Denver. They just bump it across. Jocelyn Richardson, bump. Burr gets set up, and it hits the hands of the blockers, but ends up on the Pioneer side of the court. Point for the Jackrabbits and a kill for Madison Burr. 16-19. Jacks are down by 3. It's Rachel Weber now serving for the Jackrabbits. Serve goes to Finucane, and set up is Kate Perryman, and Sylvie Zonks on a solo block says no up front. Point for the Jackrabbits. 17-19 is the score. The Jacks are down by 2 in the third set, and Denver takes one of their 2 remaining timeouts. We'll be right back here to First Bank and Trust Arena in 30 seconds.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Jackrabbit Volleyball right here on Collegiate Sports. I'm Ben Anderson. Braden Byers helping me out back in the studio tonight. Rachel Weber is up behind the line to serve it for the Jackrabbits. The score is 17-19, third set. Sets tied 1 apiece. Weber serving away, and the Pioneers able to get there just in time. And a spike set down by Cassie Davis, and it's Aaliyah Schlimgen that can't get there in time for the Jackrabbits. 17-20. The Jacks are down by 3 now, and the Denver has 1 timeout left. Jackrabbits have none. Now it's Briley Decker on the serve for the Pioneers. Richardson gets there. Zonks tries for a spike, and it gets blocked up front, but sent out of bounds off of that block. Point for the Jacks. It's 18-20. Jacks are down by 2 here in the third set. And it's Madison Burr. Burr's serve away. Davis gets there. Davis is going to get the chance to spike it. Weber is there for the dig. Sylvie Zonks spikes it across. Sydney Shetland sets up Zonks once again. And it's Sylvie Zonks with the kill for the Jackrabbits. It's 19-20 as the Jackrabbits now only in a 1-point deficit in the third set. Madison Burr behind the line for the Jacks. And it's an ace for Madison Burr. Excellent place ball there. Pioneers can't get there. Burr with the ace there, 20 all. And it just tips over the net, barely. And the Pioneers play it. And they're going to say they touched the net. And a point for the Jackrabbits. 21-20. Jacks now leading the third set by 3. And it forces Denver to take their final timeout of set number 3. The score is 21-20. This is a crazy game. Jackrabbits lose set number 1. They come back and win set number 2 in extra points, 27-25. That's how that one shook out. Sets tied up 1-1. And in set number 3, a nail biter as the Jackrabbits have come back from a deficit and are on a 4-0 scoring run. It's 21-20 right now. Whichever team wins this set has the advantage going into set number 4 and can win the game. And will not lose in set number 4. Could force set number 5 if the losing team wins set number 4 there. So Denver burns its last timeout, forced there by a 4-0 scoring run by South Dakota State. And SDSU is going to have the serve. It's Madison Burr behind the line as Denver retakes the court now. Sylvie Zonk's an astonishing 19 kills now tonight. Madison Burr spiking across. Davis gets the spike. Weber on the dig, barely down on the floor. And it's Sylvie Zonks who gets it back onto the Denver side. Davis spiking down. Out of bounds on the right line. Cameron On was looking right at it, called it out of bounds, and it was. She never touched it. Jackrabbits now 22-20. Jacks are up by 2. Madison Burr serving. Reynolds bumps. Davis with the spike. And it's Hahn with the dig. Weber gets it to Venling Brown with the spike. And the Pioneers send it back. And up front, it's Sydney Shedden and Annalie Venling Brown with the block. Point for the Jackrabbits, 23-20. Set number 3. Madison Burr serving error too low. Gives Denver back the serve and a point. 23-21. Jacks ahead by 2. Davis now serving. Serve is away. Weber, barely able to dig that one up. Shedden got touched by Sylvie Zonks, a miscommunication when she was trying to hit the ball, so it goes wild and out of bounds. A miscommunication by the Jacks. 2 errors there by 2 separate groups of players. And it's 23-22. Jacks ahead by 1. And it's Zonks on the dig off the serve. Zonks gets a chance to spike it. And up front, it's Jemiah Johnson with the block for Denver, tying up set number 3, 23-all. It's Cassie Davis serving. Weber, bump. And hits the net. Point for Denver. 23-24. It's set point in set number 3 for the Denver Pioneers. Cassie Davis serving. Jackrabbits need to score. Weber bumps. Hahn bumps. Gets it to Zonks, who sends a spike. And it's a point and a kill for Sylvie Zonks. 24-all, set number 3. We're going into extra points once again. Back serving for the Jackrabbits. It's number 5, Riley Martin. Martin serve. Inbounds to libero. Pioneers playing it. Sends a spike. It's Johnson. Martin on the dig. Slimkin gets it to Sylvie Zonks, who gets it into the block. And a Jackrabbit kill for Sylvie Zogs. 25-24. Jacks lead it. It's set point for the Jackrabbits. Set number 3. Riley Martin on the serve. Picked up by Davis. The Pioneers send back a spike out of bounds. And the Jackrabbits are going to win set number 3. 26-24 is the final score of set number 3. The Jackrabbits take it home and now lead in sets 2-1 over Denver. We're going into set number 4. We'll be right back here in 2 minutes. You're listening to Jackrabbit Volleyball right here on Collegian Sports.
Support comes from the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings, inspiring a passion for the diverse history, culture, and science of agriculture in South Dakota. To learn more about exhibits and events, you can visit agmuseum.com.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is often laced into illicit drugs and used to make fake versions of prescription pills. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. Suppliers mix fentanyl into their products because it's potent and cheap, and the dealer might not even know. Keep yourself and others safe by knowing the real deal on fentanyl. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Support comes from the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings, inspiring a passion for the diverse history, culture, and science of agriculture in South Dakota. To learn more about exhibits and events, you can visit agmuseum.com.
Welcome back into First Bank and Trust Arena. Some news from around the Summit League. Omaha Mavericks have just defeated North Dakota State University and are 9-1 in Summit League play. The Jackrabbits hold the tiebreaker. If they lose tonight to Denver, Omaha would take the lead in the Summit League. The Jacks win it, they maintain the first spot. And now it's time for set number 4 in First Bank and Trust Arena. If the Jackrabbits win set number 4, they take the match. If Denver wins, they force set number 5. So now we switch sides of the court, and Denver is on my side. The Jackrabbits are on the far side. And right off the bat, it's going to be a service error by Cassie Davis, and the Jackrabbits are going to lead it right away in set number 4. The Jacks have it 1-0, and Riley Martin's going to be back behind the line to serve. Martin's serve is good in inbounds, picked up by the Pioneers, and The Jackrabbits scrambling now to get it back over. Sylvie Zonks does. She sends a spike, a fake spike up front there by the Pioneers. The Jackrabbits hold strong. And Groves sends a spike across for the kill for the Jacks. 2-0. Jackrabbits ahead here now in set number 4. Riley Martin serving again for the Jacks. Davis picks it up. Reynolds sends it across out of bounds. And the Jackrabbits now have a 3-point advantage over Denver in set number 4. It's 3-0. Riley Martin still serving. Jackrabbits on a 3-0 lead. Martin's serve picked up by Davis there. And it's Johnson who's going to send a spike across. Van Egdom's there. Martin setting up Groves on the spike. Dug up by Denver there. It was Decker. And Johnson's going to send it across to the Jackrabbits. Martin gets it across to Zonks. Zonks sets it down in front of Finucane, who's able to dig it up. Blocked up front by Zonks again, maintains on the Pioneer side. It's going to be set across by Davis. Schlimgen gets it over to Groves, who off the hands of the block. Goes out of bounds, and point for the Jackrabbits. 4-0 now. Riley Martin again. Martin serve. Up. Finucane gets there. Davis bumping towards the front row. Reynolds with the spike blocked up front by Groves again. 5-0. The Jackrabbits lead set number 4, and it forces Denver to take a timeout early. They're going to do it. We're going to take a 30-second break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Collegiate Sports.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Welcome back. First Bank and Trust Arena. I'm Ben Anderson, and Braden Byers is with me in the studio. Jackrabbit Volleyball, set number 4. Jacks lead it 2-1 in sets. Jackrabbits are ahead 5-0, forced Denver to take a timeout early. Riley Martin still serving. Martin served to Finucane. A little bit of miscommunication there on the Denver side. And a block up front! It's Alyssa Groves again! Alyssa Groves has been stopping so many of these during the 4th set. And it's Riley Martin still. Finucane on the dig. The Pioneers send back a spike. Shatnan and Sylvie Zonks not able to hold the block there on the right side of the net. And the Denver Pioneers get their first point of set number 4. It's 6-1. And it's number 15, Margaret Newton, back to serve for the Pioneers. And I'm already losing my voice a little bit, so that's really great. Van Egdom, Martin, to Zonks, who sends a spike. And it's a point there. They're going to say it hit the floor. Point for the Jackrabbits. And it's 7-1 off the spike from Sylvie Zonks. And it will be Zonks back to serve it. So, me and Braden, we have football here at 6 o'clock, USD, SDSU. And I'm probably not going to have a voice for that, but we'll see. And it's Alyssa Groves again with the block there. The Pioneers dig it, though, and they send over a bump. Martin sets up Shetland, who lays it down on the Pioneer side. Shetland finally with the hammer tonight. Point for the Jacks, it's 8-1. Sylvie Zonks serving for the Jacks. Davis bumping, gets it to Marabelli, who gets blocked by Shetland up front, and it's Marabelli again on the recovery, getting it over Shetland's block this time and inbounds. Point for Denver, 8-2. Jacks still ahead by 6, set number 4. So it's Lydia Aaron serving now for the Pioneers, number 10. Sylvie Zonks, bump, Martin bump, and it's Shetland tipping it over the net, dug up by Davis, and the libero is just gonna bump it across. Martin just direct set for Martin and across, hit the Jackrabbit right in the ears on the court, and it's a point and a kill for Riley Martin, her first of the night. 9-2. Denver wasn't ready for the set over on 2. And point and kill there for Riley Martin. Jocelyn Richardson serving now. Blocked up front by Groves. Once again, it's Alyssa Groves with the block up front and the point for the Jackrabbits. It's 10-2. The Jacks ahead by 8 in set number 4. The Jacks win this set, they win the match. Sets are at 2-1 right now. Denver won the first. The Jackrabbits narrowly winning the last 2. Omaha just beat NDSU, so that would put them at the top of the Summit League if the Jackrabbits lose tonight. Mirabelli spikes down on the Jackrabbits side, and Riley Martin can't get there in time. It's 10-3. Now, Jacks are ahead by 7. And it's Ava Reynolds behind the line for the Pioneers. Richardson, bump. Riley Martin sets up Madison Burr, who sets one down, dug up somehow by the Pioneers. And Groves blocks up front, still in play. That time, Groves' block ends up on the Jackrabbit side. She couldn't get enough leverage there, and a point for Denver. It's 10-4. Ava Reynolds still serving now for the Pioneers. It's Sylvie Zonks, gets it to Madison Burr, who gets blocked up front there off of her spike by Davis and Marabelli. So, number 11, Ava Reynolds still back. It's 10-5. Zonks with the bump. Martin sets up Van Igdam with the spike in an open space. Point for the Jackrabbits, kill for Van Igdam. It's 11-5. The Jacks are ahead by 6, set number 4. Denver only has 1 timeout left. They used one earlier tonight when they were down 5-0. The Jacks have 2 of theirs left, and it's Cameron Hahn on the serve. Pioneers all over it. Davis sending a spike across. Did the blockers touch it? No, they didn't. It went out of bounds. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 12-5. Jacks ahead by 7 now. So Denver's going to challenge the ruling and say that the blockers for SDSU did touch the volleyball. Now, on the replay, it doesn't look like they did. It was very close, but the ball does not change direction or spin. It looks close from the side angle, but from the front angle, it looks a little bit farther off. Still being reviewed. Challenge there by the Pioneers. Score is 12-5. Jacks are ahead by 7. Megan Roggenkamp and Sophie Johnson for the Jacks having a little dance party over there on the Jackrabbit bench. having some fun over there. As the challenge continues. Just waiting for the call there. The ref's still reviewing this one. This is the longest challenge of the night, review-wise. And it was close. It was close. Finally, a decision here. Talking to the scores table now. So challenge is successful and the ruling reversed. It was touched by the Jackrabbits, and it's 11-6 now. The Jacks lose a point and Denver gains one. They're also going to be on the serve. It's 11-6. Now Jacks still lead, but only by 5 now, as number 6, Elena Finucane, is
You're
back
listening
to
to
serve for the
90.7 KSDJ Brookings.
Serve away, picked up by Zonks. Hahn to Venling Brown, who sends a spike and hit the scoreboard and comes back down. Davis sends a spike and it goes out of bounds. Point for the Jacks, 12-6. Substitutions being made. Rachel Weber comes in for the Jackrabbits, and she's going to be back to serve. 12-6 is the score. Jacks double the score of Denver. Finucane with the dig. Too close to net, and it's Sylvie Zonks with the spike. Point for the Jacks. 13-6 now as the Jacks lead, and Denver is going to use their last timeout of the fourth set. So we're going to take a 30-second break. We'll be right back here. You're listening to Jackrabbit Volleyball on Collegian Sports.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Welcome back in First Bank and Trust Arena. Jackrabbit Volleyball. Jacks lead it in set number 4. They're up 2-1, and they have 13-6 here in set number 4. Jackrabbit had the last point, and Denver is out of timeouts. They've used both now, and Rachel Weber is back behind the line to serve for the Jacks. Weber's serve is out of bounds. Service error there by the Jackrabbits, so 13-7. And the Jacks up ahead by 6 here in set number 4. And number 13, Briley Decker, is going to be back serving for Denver. Serve away, picked up by Richardson. Hahn with the bump, gets it to Zonks. Zonks with the tip over the net, and it's Davis who tries to get it over, blocked up front by Burr. Still Pioneers in play. And Richardson now with the dig. Hahn gets to Zonks, blocked up front by the Pioneers. Recovered by Hahn, and it's Zonks once again with the try. She gets past the blockers this time, but dug up by the libero. They send it back to Jackrabbit territory. It's Weber who sets it up for Zonks, and the Pioneers get a handle on that one as well. They try to send that one in, and Burr's there with the block, but it flies out of bounds. So a point for Denver. 13-8 is the score. Jackrabbits up by 5 now, and Denver is serving. Briley Decker Serve tips the top of the net, but goes over into Jackrabbit territory. Hahn just direct sets over. Denver's ready for it that time. Ventling Brown tried to block there, but Davis gets it right by her. And a point again for Denver. It's 13-9 now. Jacks ahead by 4. Denver on a 3-0 run. And it's Briley Decker serving. And out of bounds, service error by Decker there. Point for the Jacks, 14-9. Jacks ahead by 5, set number 4. It's Madison Burr behind the line. Burr with the serve. Gets it to Reynolds, and Davis sends a spike off. Burr with the dig. Sylvie Zonks tries to spike in, and off the hands of the blockers goes out of bounds. So point and kill. Sylvie Zonks, 15-9 is the score, and the Jacks are ahead by 6. And Madison Burr is still serving. Reynolds with the bump there. Davis tries to spike it, and it's Ventling Brown with the block, but her block goes out of bounds. So point for Denver, and it's 15-10 now. Jacks ahead by 5. And it will be Cassie Davis again serving for Denver. Weber on the dig. Hahn gets it across to Zonks, and it's close to the line. Flag goes up. Point for Denver. That one was close. Replay here. And it looked like it was out of bounds on the replay. So, Davis serving for Pioneers. Zonks tries to tip above the blockers. Unsuccessful the first time, does it the second time though. And Reynolds sends a spike of her own, and a point for the Jackrabbits there, as her spike went out of bounds, not touched by the blockers. 16-11. Jacks are ahead by 5, excuse me. And it is number 5, Riley Martin, back to serve. Serve is inbounds and good. Picked up by the libero. Attempted spike up front there by Jemiah Johnson, and she does get it across into the blockers, and the ball falls on the Jackrabbit side. So point for Denver, 16-12, and the Jacks are ahead by 4. Denver is closing the gap a little bit here later in the 4th set. It's Newton serving for Denver, picked up by Zonks. Martin setting up Zonks for the spike, and it is a point for the Jackrabbits. Zonk on the kill. That ball was picked up there by Newton, but it went out of bounds. And it's 17-12. Jacks are ahead by 5. Sylvie Zonks out there serving. Serve away, picked up by the libero there. And it's Molly Marabelli who's able to spike it through the blockers there and get a kill on the Jackrabbits. So it's 17-13, and the Jacks are ahead by 5. Set number 4. If the Jacks win, it's the game. If Denver wins, it's forces 5 sets. Set spiking. There is Sydney Shetnin back into Denver territory, and it's Reynolds who gets blocked up front by Groves, and Shetnin with a block there, still in Pioneer territory, and it's Shetnin once again with the block, and Denver can't get there in time, and the Jackrabbits get the kill. Sydney Shetnin with the block up front. It's 18-13. The Jacks are ahead by 5. Jocelyn Richardson serving now. Her serve into Denver territory. Davis with the spike out of bounds. Point for the Jacks. 19-13. Jacks ahead by 6 here in set number 4. Starting to run away with it. Jocelyn Richardson, the libero, still serving for the Jackrabbits. Serve is away. Picked up by Fandukin and sent back by Reynolds. Richardson pops it up into the crowd. Point for Denver. Richardson was there, but it came in too fast, couldn't get control of it. And it's going to be 19-14 now. Jack's ahead, and it's going to be Ava Reynolds serving. And Jocelyn Richardson gets it to Burr. Burr just going to tip it across. And the Pioneers tip above the block as well. Ends up going out of bounds off Jackrabbit. Touch went across the net into Pioneer territory, but out of bounds. So point for Denver. It's 19-15 now. Jack's ahead by 4. Set number 4, Ava Reynolds still serving for the Pioneers. And it's Richardson on the dig there. Martin sets up Burr, who gets it across into the blockers, and a kill for Madison Burr. Point for the Jacks. It's 20-15. Substitutions made here by the Jacks. Cameron Hahn comes in to serve it for the Jackrabbits. 20-15 as previously stated. Set number 4. Again, it's the Pioneers having a chat over there with the head coach. And now ready to play once again. Cameron Hahn with the serve. Over, picked up by Ava Reynolds. Block up front, Van Igdam recovers. It ended up on the Jackrabbit side. Ventling Brown sends a spike out of bounds on the right sideline. Point for Denver. It's 20-16 now. Jackrabbits are ahead by 4. Elena Finucane, the libero for Denver. Zongs picks it up. Hahn gets it to Burr, who sets it down, and Finucane can't get there in time. Kill for Madison Burr. It's 21-16. Jacks ahead by 5. It's Rachel Weber back to serve it for SDSU. And picked up there by Finucane. It hits the post and down. So an ace for Rachel Weber. And another point for the Jackrabbits. 22-16 is the score. Rachel Weber again serving. Serve is away, close to the line, and the flag goes up. Interesting there. They're going to say point for Denver. And it's going to be 22-17. Jackrabbits ahead by 5. Briley Decker serving now for Denver. That one goes out of bounds on a service error, so point for the Jacks. It's 23-17. Jacks ahead by 6. Set number 4. Madison Burr serving now. And picked up by Davis in Denver, sent back across by Davis, blocked up front by Ventling Brown and Shetland. And the Pioneers can't put it together, and it falls on their side. Point for the Jackrabbits. And now it's match point for the South Dakota State University Jackrabbits. Madison Burr on the set. Picked up by Davis. And the Pioneers send it back across. Picked up by Weber. Hahn, a whistle. Injured Jackrabbit, it's going to be Sydney Shetnan. Struggling to stand up now, supported by her teammates. Jackrabbit athletic training staff coming out now. And she's not putting any weight on that right leg. Sydney Shetnan, a crucial part of the Jackrabbit volleyball squad here. And yes, struggling to put any weight on that right leg, holding it up and hopping, supported there by athletic training staff from Stanford Health there. Able to get over to the bench and into a chair. as now being looked at. So that point, not going to be counted. It's still match point here. It's 24-17. Madison Burr serving. The potentially last point of the game, Shetland goes down. Burr to Davis. Pioneers putting it together. Send a spike across. Burr sends it wildly off the arms into the crowd. Point for Denver. Pioneers get that one. 24-18 is the score. Jackrabbits lead it by 6. Still match point. Cassie Davis on the serve, and it's a service error right into the net, and that's it. The Jackrabbits win it in 4 here in First Bank and Trust Arena. Final score of set number 4, 25-18. Handshakes at the net for both teams. Jackrabbits win it in a nail-biter and stay at the top of the Summit League at 9-0 and advance their undefeated record to 20-0 as head coach Gorgalis's winning record also expands. A little bit of a somber moment here for the Jacks as they celebrate on the court without one of their leading players, Sydney Shetland. But now Shetland, I see, is able to put all the weight on her right leg and walk independently out of the building to the locker room. So she hopefully is okay and able to play for the next Jackrabbit volleyball game. So pretty quick here, I'll send you over to Braden Byers for the post-game report. But first, I want to plug ourselves here. We're going to be playing some football here at Dana J. Dyko Stadium and SDSU. It's an interstate series matchup versus USD. So make sure you tune into that here on KSDJ or the Collegian Sports Network. And it'll be me and Braden over there for that. So make sure you do it. The Jackrabbits win it in 4. Absolutely amazing game. I've been Ben Anderson from in here in First Bank and Trust Arena. I'm going to send it over to Braden Byers in the studio for your post-game report. But make sure you tune in for football later tonight. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right. Jackrabbit football here tonight. Yep, that's right. Jackrabbit football here tonight, starting at 6:30 is the kickoff, and a little bit of a pregame show before that. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and jump right into the Jackrabbit volleyball postgame report. And yes, the Jackrabbits continue their winning streak. They get the win here over the Denver Pioneers this afternoon. Part 1 of the Hike and Spike doubleheader event. As I mentioned, football taking on, or as Ben mentioned, football taking on the University of South Dakota later on tonight. The Jackrabbit football team looking to bounce back after their loss to North Dakota State just last week. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the final stats here as I pull them up, courtesy of the South Dakota State Athletic Communications Department. Want to thank them for everything that they do to help us talk more knowledge, be more knowledgeable about these athletic events. A 3-1 win for South Dakota State here today over the Denver Pioneers. As a team, Denver leading both teams with 62 kills, hitting .222 for a hitting percentage. They had 7 blocks as a team. Meanwhile, South Dakota State, 55 kills on 146 attacks and 16 attack errors for a hitting percentage of .267. They also had 4 service aces and 13 blocks. As you mentioned there, Sydney Shetland going down with a little bit of an injury there just right before the Jackrabbits put this one away. Shetland on the afternoon, 16 total attacks, 5 kills for her, 2 errors, and had 1 dig and 5 blocks. But leading the way, an incredible match once again for one Sylvie Skunts, 25 kills, only 6 errors, and then she took 57 swings, hitting only .333, but that's still not a bad hitting percentage at all. She also had 2 assists, 10 digs, and 3 blocks. Behind her, Alyssa Groves and Katie Van Egdom, both with 9 kills here tonight. Groves had 6 blocks, and Van Egdom had 1, and leading the team in blocks was Groves with 6, and I mentioned Sydney Shetland before and Maddie Burr, both with 5 blocks here tonight. Cassie Davis on the other end, 15 kills for Denver on 44 attacks. She had 6 errors for a hitting percentage of .205. She had 10 digs, so a double-double for her, as well as for Sylvie Skunts on the Jackrabbit side, and 4 blocks for Davis as well. Ava Reynolds, 14 kills for her, 31 attacks and 11 errors. .97 hitting percentage for her. She had 15 digs in that one as well. Molly Mirabelli, 13 kills for her, also eclipsing the double-digit mark for kills on that one, and had 3 digs and 2 blocks as well. But again, South Dakota State, they defeat the Denver Pioneers. They remain undefeated on the season, still the only undefeated team left in Division I of volleyball in the country. 3-1 in sets, going 25-18 in favor of Denver, and then then the Jackrabbits swept it from there, 27-25, 26-24, and 25-18. Let's go ahead and take a look as well at some other games happening around the Summit League here today. A 3-1 win for the University of South Dakota over Kansas City. In that one that we were keeping an eye on. If Omaha won their match and we lost our match, then Omaha would have taken over first place in the Summit League this season. They won 3-1 over North Dakota State up in Fargo. That ended before our match, so we were watching that one. But South Dakota State keeps first place in the Summit League. We'll get to the standings here in just a moment. And also St. Thomas, 3-0 over North Dakota here tonight. The next Summit League volleyball action will be taking place next Thursday. And the slate that we have on that one, North Dakota versus South Dakota. That one's going to be in Vermilion. Denver traveling to St. Paul to take on the Tommies of St. Thomas. South Dakota State will be heading down I-29 to Omaha, and that's another big matchup between the Mavericks and the Jackrabbits, the two far and away leaders so far in the Summit League this season. And North Dakota State will be heading to Oklahoma to take on Oral Roberts. Now time to take a look at the Summit League standings for the sport of volleyball. Again, we mentioned South Dakota State keeping hold of their first place mark, 9-0 in the conference. They are an incredible 20-0 on the season so far, have not lost a game. Omaha is 11-10 on the season. They are 9-1 in conference play. So those are the top two teams in the Summit League right now. Then we jump down to South Dakota, who this SDSU team beat just on Tuesday of this week. They get the win here today, and they improve to 7-3 inside the Summit League, 15-6 overall for the Coyotes. St. Thomas at 5-5 and 13-9 in fourth. North Dakota State tied for fourth at 5-5 as well, 9-10 for the Bison. Then Denver at 4-6 and 9-11. Oral Roberts at 2-7 and 4-18. Kansas City at 2-8 and 4-17. And North Dakota at 1-9 in Summit League play, 8-13 in the overall standings. Well, let's quickly take a look now here at what's coming up in South Dakota State athletics. And as Ben and I have both mentioned, we will have Jackrabbit football on the air on our YouTube channel and on our website, sdsucollegian.com/KSDJFM. It'll be up there, and then also sdsucollegian.com/sports. It will be up in that tab as well. The South Dakota State football team looking to bounce back after their loss to North Dakota State last week, and they're going to do it against a rival here tonight in the Interstate Series. If you want to watch it, it's going to be on ESPNU, but if you want to listen to it, tune in right here. Not right here if you're listening on the stream, but it'll be on our YouTube channel at Collegian Media and on our website, sdsucollegian.com, in two separate spots, the Sports tab and the KSDJ FM tab. Looking forward to tomorrow. The women's soccer team will be back in action against Oral Roberts to round out the home portion of their regular season schedule, and in fact, it may even be their regular season portion in general. They might be wrapping up. Let me check here. Nope, excuse me. I clicked into the softball one. There we go. Soccer, and yes, it will be the final regular season match. The Summit League Championships will be happening starting on November 2nd and going through November 10th at the various campus sites around the Summit League. But Senior Day tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Fishback Soccer Park for the Jackrabbit women's soccer team. And the next Wednesday, we get basketball season started. It's already that time of year. We get into basketball with the Jackrabbit tip-off doubleheader and exhibition. The women's team will be taking on St. Cloud State at 6 p.m. and men's basketball taking on Black Hill State at 8:15 p.m. Those will not be streamed on the Summit League network, but they can be heard on the Jackrabbit Sports Network and potentially here on KSCJ and Collegian Sports. We'll have to figure that out here. But as for today, a 3-1 win over the Denver Pioneers for the South Dakota State volleyball team. They stay undefeated, and they keep on rolling with their Summit League schedule as they get back to action next Thursday against Omaha in the great state of Nebraska. We'll have Jackrabbit football coming up here soon in just a couple of hours. Me, Ben Anderson, Jacob Brendy going to be holding it down for you at Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium. But until then, happy trails. We'll go ahead and end this broadcast here and say thank you for listening. For Ben Anderson, I'm Braden Byers with your post-game report. Let's go ahead and head back to some music. You're listening to Jackrabbit Volleyball on Collegian Sports.